Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, then please do not continue to listen until after you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea podcast. And today, I don't know why I always start off saying and, but anyways, today we are covering, forgive me if I mispronounce it, Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. And this is our first movie for Asian Horror Month. And this is a Korean film. And it's a very simple. Well, before we go into that, let's go to the tea. What tea are you drinking, Jess?
Well, also, before we even get to that, I want to thank everyone for sticking with us. We have been doing this for 6 months now.
Yeah!
And you completely forgot.
I did.
We've been at this for 6 months now, so thanks, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We have a lot more planned, so stay with us. Stay tuned.
Yes, and if you like this podcast, please subscribe, share, rate us on Apple Podcast or any other podcast platform that allows you to rate us. That's the only way that it's really going to help us spread the word and get more people on board, because our ultimate goal is to make this a larger conversation. Like, we want to say our views, but we also want to have feedback on what other people think about these movies so we can continue the conversation. We want it to be an intelligent,
open dialogue.
Exactly. And we can't do that if only 5 people are listening. So please share, please recommend. Every little bit helps. Just that one little share, it honestly can make a huge difference. And even though we love what we're doing and we're still going to keep doing it,
no matter what,
it really helps us in the end, and helps you guys too, to be able to find other like-minded people that enjoy watching these movies and having your own opinions. And maybe someone will have a view of a movie that you never thought of before. And that's what I'm excited about. I want to be told, new ideas, and yeah.
And I want to be told new movies, so keep suggesting new ones, guys.
Yes. Yes. So, but yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Jess. That completely went over my head, but
it's been a long weekend. Yeah. This is fine. Yeah. It's been a long day. It's all good. I am drinking a tea from one of Bigelow's new lines, Bigelow Benefits. It's called Stress Free, and it's they say it's rose mint, but it's also got like berries, chamomile, raspberry, and rose hips and all in it. It's delicious, and it's good hot or cold.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that.
Yes,
that sounds great. Delicious. And I am doing a classic. I'm doing the Celestial Seasons Lemon Zinger, but I got some new dishes. This is when you know you're an adult and you get excited about new dishes. So look at my mug. It's so cool. It's got red and gray and it's all swirly. Like, I feel fancy pants. But I love my new mug.
Yeah, I'm holding off on getting new dishes until a later date, because everything's still serviceable. This is fine. Now, if he breaks another one of my mugs, then no. We're getting new ones, but
but anyways, so the premise of the movie is pretty simple, which is always good news for a horror movie. If it's too complicated, then
it makes it easy.
Yeah, exactly.
There are just some things you don't need to mess that much with.
Yeah.
It's already there. There's plenty there to choose from.
Yeah. So it's it's your typical ghost hunters going into a haunted place movie. But because it takes place in Korea, you get that Asian culture spin to it. And so as an American watching it, it's very cool to see the cultural differences, and it really helps you appreciate, both sides.
In a lot of Asian cultures, they have things called like courage tests, where it's basically they go in on a dare, or they go in to show people that they're courageous, they're not afraid. So, and if you can do whatever it is they say you'd get cursed for or whatever, or stay in there for so long, and you come out just fine, then everyone thinks, oh my gosh, they're so fearless. They're great, and their popularity soars. This is a common thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, not that much. It's
well, I feel like a lot of teenagers do that.
A little, but it's more of a dare kind of thing. I feel like it's not really like a courage test. Like, I mean, they have whole school groups, like they would do a courage test for the class. So it's a bigger thing over there.
Gotcha.
Than it is over here.
Okay. Well, would you like to start us off with the entertainment scale, or do you want me to?
You go ahead. I've been going first lately.
Okay. Whew. I was not expecting that because, honestly, like, this is a really good movie, but it's not a perfect movie. So I think I'm going to rate it a 7. Maybe a 6, but I feel like, I don't know, I'm feeling a 7.
Honestly, I was going to give it a strong 7.
Yeah, like the characters are really fun. They have very unique personalities. The chemistry between the characters, it seems very genuine. You don't feel like they're actors. And the actual scares of the movie are pretty decent. There's a few scenes that don't really hit, but I don't know if it's because I'm not a part of that culture or if it's the actual, filmmaker didn't make a very scary scene. But overall, like, great movie. Like, it was very well put together. The build up for some of the scares.
Great. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was fairly low budget. It is a found footage film, so you don't have to do much to make it kind of creepy. It's already creepy as is. Like, it's an abandoned building. It's in, disrepair. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be creepy, dusty, dark. Nothing works. None of the lighting or anything works. So, I mean, just the little things here and there that you can see, like, out of the corner of your eye, or
or some of the angles too.
Yeah, just some of the angles they use, or just some of the minor kind of scares. The way they play around with the different camera views, is really cool. But they don't. There are some that are a little bit over the top with their reactions, but on the whole, it's pretty genuine. And it's kind of cool how they interpret a lot of it.
Like, my favorite, well, I have 2 favorite, well, okay, more like 3 favorite scenes.
There's a lot of good parts, guys.
Like, the first, like, my very top favorite is when Charlotte dies and she has a flashlight and she's shining it on the creature and then moves the flashlight down, and every time you see her lift it back up, you're just like, it's gonna be closer, like something's gonna happen. And it is so good building the intensity. And then the second is whenever they're doing the equivalent of a seance and you hear the bells echoing. Now, we find out later that was all set up, but But whenever you're in that scene, it really gets you. And then the second one, or the third, and kind of like, it creeps me out, but it's not like my top tier, is when Charlotte wrote her name on the wall and it says, I think, "Let's live."
Let's live.
And then they go back and it says, "Let's die," or
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that would be so
It had
creepy.
changed. Instead of live, it says die.
Yeah. Oh, like that gives me chills every single time.
And the director tries to play it off as, no, it always said, "Let's die."
Yeah, duh.
It definitely did not. But some of the creepiest ones. Definitely the flashlight scene with Charlotte, her death scene. That just, oh my god, that felt so bad.
Or the friend too, like where her eyes are black and she's like whispering and.
Well, yeah, yes, the sounds that she makes are not okay. And then you see her, like, Charlotte points the flashlight and she sees her, like, facing the wall. And then she, like, moves her flashlight. And I'm sitting here, why are you moving the flashlight? Why are you not just staying right there and watching her?
Yeah.
And then she moves the flashlight and sees this other creature or person right there. It's, whatever it is, it ain't right. And then she moves it again. I'm like, stop moving the light. And then you just hear it kind of shuffling to where it's back in the line of sight.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
It was really good. It was really good. Also, I really think it was really interesting when the director guy, he was a real jerk, but when he was going to the asylum, he saw in one of the windows, it looked like someone was struggling, like they were being hanged and they were struggling with whatever was around them. And then later, when he's in the building, he looks out the window and sees himself sending up the drone, and then he's the one that's being hanged. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
And really well done how they did that. And just... there's this buildup because you can see something coming closer to him, and it looks like a hanging lady. Yeah. And it hits him, and it just stays there against his back, and then the head slowly turns.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie gives you such chills at, like, the best moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When they pulled the arm, too. There were these boxes that were almost like cabinets, but they had a hole in, like, the chest kind of area, chest level, if they were to have a person in it. And a guy that was in on it and was staging a lot of the scares put his hand in and acted like someone had pulled on his arm. And he had pulled it out, and he was going to go back and do it again for the cameras again, and to freak the others out to get their reactions. And another one of the girls decided, no, I'm gonna do it. And she actually gets pulled and has these giant scratches all down her arm.
Yeah.
And it looks like freaking claw marks down her arm.
Yeah.
And of course, at that point, she's like, nah, I'm gone, bye. Deuces, guys. And she and Charlotte book it out of there. It does kind of suck that they did try to leave and they weren't able to.
Yeah, they kind of pulled a Blair Witch thing where they're walking through the woods and they find out that either the woods are supernaturally making them lost or they legitimately got lost. But either way, they look on the ground and items that were from the building are now suddenly in the building. And one thing so Charlotte, she's running towards what she thinks is their tent. And then she goes in. Yeah. And then she's back in the building. And then that's when the flashlight scene comes up and she dies. But that whole scene was so well done.
Yes. The beginning is a little bit slow and it's kind of funny. You know, you're just getting to know the characters and their personalities and all, and they're just kind of setting it up. And you see a couple of somewhat creepy kind of things toward the middle, but then it builds the entire time from that point on.
Yeah.
Once they're in the building, it starts getting steadily creepier until they reach a certain point, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. And the this movie kind of reminds me, I think it's called Grave Encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they get trapped in an asylum, and once you go in there, you can't get out. It very much reminds me of that, but I like this one a bit better.
I did like this one better. They stuck with a lot of the more simple scares, and they built it a lot better. They didn't rely as much, not near as much, on jump scares. There were a couple, but it wasn't... They were more warranted.
Yeah. It's very much built up, like, psychologically, and then, like, there's this one part...
You know the thing is coming.
Yeah. Like, and, like, the other scene where it's one of the second to last death scenes, where they're in room 402, and they're wading in water, and they look up at the ceiling, and there's more water, and they're like, what the heck?
Yes.
But the hands around the eyes, whew.
And then when the hands move, their eyes are black, and they're doing that weird noise.
Yeah. But honestly...
that was creepy.
I wish they had expanded a little bit on the lore, just because there was such a variety of monsters, spirits, and ways to die, that there's no way that they all died the same way and became these different creatures. I just feel like they all died in different ways, and that's why they...
And they didn't really specify how a lot of the patients had died. They just said that a lot of patients died and the director went missing. A lot of people say the director hung herself in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But there's no, like, solid proof. And they have no idea why room 402 is the only one that's, like, locked and they can't get into it. And they didn't really go too in depth with that. It was just a thing. We need to open the door at the climax of the show.
Yeah.
And go in there.
Yeah. Like, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints against this movie. But I guess we can... Is there anything else you wanted to add before we go to the realism scale?
I wanted to add that Charlotte, while in addition to being, like, the only name that we can actually pronounce and remember, she was an awesome character. She was very fun and very outgoing and just, like, very fiery, and also it was kind of fun watching her. Legitimately, if it was really just her going through this, I still would have watched the hell out of it.
Yeah, we made the comment while we were watching the movie that if someone like Charlotte existed in real life, we would totally watch her.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because it's like she's spray painting, and then whenever they're like, okay, we're starting to record, she just flips the spray paint, and she's like, hello, everyone. Yeah, she's just like so comfortable in her skin. I'm like, I love her.
I'm here in the third most haunted area. I've been to this place, and this place. Let's do this.
Yeah, like she was awesome.
We're here with you. We are living for this.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. But
that's all I wanted to add on the entertainment scale, was that she was just awesome.
Yeah, she really was. I loved her as a character. Well, so as far as realism goes, of course, putting aside the fact that the place actually was legitimately haunted, the way that the characters reacted, I would probably give it like a 5. And the reason being is there were some characters that their reactions were pretty realistic all the way throughout, and honestly would be how I would react. But then there's some characters, like the director, that were way over the top, that were either douchebags just to be douchebags rather than any practical reason. I mean, they say money, but it's like he's their friend or coworker or whatever. It's like he works with them. I don't know. And then the two guys that were along with it, and they were, I don't know. I felt like they were not the most well fleshed out characters.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it happening as far as the director is concerned. He was a really big jerk, but he knows that a lot of the things are staged because he's the one that came up with it.
Yeah.
And he is so hellbent on getting this money, making that payday, that the thought of getting so close to that goal and then just losing it because people are scared, that they're a little creeped out, I could easily see that he would go off the deep end like that. He does get a little bit excessive insofar as, like, threatening them. You turn the camera off again, I'll kill you, that kind of thing. That's a little much. But I could easily see, like, at that one point when he's just so tired of them saying they want to leave and all, that he just grabs the camera and is like, I'll just do this myself.
Yeah.
I could easily see that.
Yeah.
The other reactions are pretty good. I feel like one or more of them probably would have been like deuces a little bit sooner, but especially the girls that weren't in on it. But I can easily see a show trying to do some things for views and playing up a lot of things. In the beginning, when like the door closes or there's a bang and some things fall from the ceiling and there's like a wig with hair hanging down and all. Okay, yeah, that's clearly faked. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I feel like a lot of them the reactions were pretty good, pretty genuine. A lot of it was fairly believable, putting aside that things are actually haunted. I take off a few points because I like my physics and breaking them doesn't work for me. So if you go through a tent door and end up in a completely different space and building, okay, well played. Interesting. Good job, spirits. But how the hell did you bend time and space? This is not the TARDIS.
Oh my gosh.
So I give it probably a 5, and that's mostly just because their reactions and all.
Yeah.
Was pretty accurate. And like a lot of the malfunctions they were having with the cameras and things, I could easily see that being the case. They've already established that with the EMF meter and everything, spirits draw energy from the surrounding area, so it could potentially mess with our equipment, as they do in most movies. That's understandable. That's fine.
Well, since this is Asian Horror Month, one thing I want to make a comment on is I know Japan is very much like this, and from my understanding of Korea, they're very similar too, is with their ghost stories, there is either a lesson to be learned or they make the person a victim of circumstance. Like no matter what they do, because they were in in the wrong place at the wrong time, they're done. And so I guess the question to you is this a movie where you think that it's almost like karma, like they shouldn't have gone in there in the first place and they got what they deserved? Or do you think they were more a victim of circumstance?
I would have to go with lesson learned. Don't go freaking in there during that time, because at some point in the movie, Charlotte said that her friend had been there, but it wasn't during that time. It was like, I want to say during the day or something. So they said that the activity really starts after midnight and it stops around daybreak.
Yeah.
Those were the reports. So for them to go in there with that knowledge, with the intention of getting that activity on camera and all, I mean, you kind of asked for it. You did go in there for that. So, but other people have clearly gone in there.
Yeah.
And have come out just fine.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the place itself. It's more the intent and the time.
Yeah. See, I can kind of see it going either way, because on one hand, the fact that they were staging a lot of the scenes, it makes me think that they were very skeptical and they were very doubtful that anything would happen. They were just going into that building because it was popular and they wanted the income from the views or whatever. But you're right. It's like they had warning that there was potential paranormal activity from the psychic or the two boys or men that disappeared at the beginning of the film. So it's 50-50. It could go either way, but whoever watches this, let us know if you think that, it was kind of an act of karma, that they got what they deserved, or if they were innocent people that were just trying to, have a good time and be internet famous.
So I have another question. Did all of the people that disappeared or died, was it because they were messing with the area? Because I'm sure a lot of people go in there and maybe just take a few pictures, but don't actually disturb anything and leave. They were legitimately trying to break into that room.
Yeah.
They had mounted a whole bunch of cameras and everything. They touched the doll, which you don't touch the doll. Ever. You don't touch the doll. If you're touching the doll, it's to set it on fire. But they were messing with that area.
Yeah.
So if that's the spirit space, if someone comes into your home and messes with a bunch of stuff, I'd be throwing some hands too.
Yeah, they were very much aggravating the spirits, but I wonder if they knew that something was actually going to happen, if they would. I mean, obviously, like some of the girls that weren't in on the setup, they were genuinely thinking that something might happen. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Because it's like, on one hand you have that, but on the other hand you have the two men that didn't think anything would happen. And it was just a big setup.
Joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not really sure because everyone died.
Yeah.
There were no survivors. It was all fatalities.
Yep.
But we do have proof from what they were saying earlier in the show that other people had survived it. So, just a thought. Maybe if you're not a jerk and mess with their home,
yeah,
maybe they're cool. You might see like a door closing or something, but that's about it.
Yeah. Could the one friend that was psychic, of course, we never see them go in, so we can't say this with 100% certainty, but at least in my mind, I'm like, well, if I'm a psychic, I would understand the amount of respect that the spirits deserve, so I wouldn't go messing around. I would just let my senses kind of guide the way, and, if something happens, it happens, or if not, then whatever.
They close the door, they don't want us in there.
Yeah. And then they're like, let's open the door.
Yeah, so it was around the midpoint, guys, when they're like in the building and all, and they're like, oh, that's the director's room over there, and they're about to go in it, and he's just kind of introducing the area, and the door closes behind him, and I'm like, well, she doesn't want you in there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a nope. Maybe go somewhere else. They're like, we're gonna go in. This right here is why you die.
I love the scene where the director is looking at the camera shots and he's counting the people and they're like, wait, all of the people are in the shot. Who is filming? Like that gives you like goosebumps.
And it's something you don't even really realize.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens and you don't think anything of it. But then he's like looking at it like, what in the world? And he's like, and he's saying their names and he's like, who shot this?
Oh, yeah.
That was freaking creepy.
Yeah.
But their eyes and the way they're moving,
yeah.
Not okay.
Yeah. But so we definitely, I know we've both watched this movie multiple times, so definitely worth a watch. For those,
if you want some scares,
yes,
here's a good one.
Yes.
You will have to read. It is subtitled. Worth it.
Yes. And anyone who has Amazon Prime, it is free on Prime Video.
Yes.
So for
the majority of the ones that we're doing this month are free on Prime.
Yeah.
There might be one, maybe two, but we tried to specifically look for ones that are easily found, and Prime is one of the easiest places to find it.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you don't have Amazon Prime, you have the option of I don't know if you have the option of renting it, but you can at least purchase it.
Yeah, you can rent it or purchase it. A lot of them are available for rent for like $2.99. So it's really reasonable.
Yeah. So definitely, at least in our opinion, we think it's worth the watch.
It's a good one to start off with.
Yes, definitely. There's no American reboot or remake of it, so if you want to watch the movie, you have to watch the original, but that was the complete intent of Asian Horror Month. We want to shout out to those types of movies because, you know, I feel like some people kind of deter from foreign films because they don't want to read subtitles. But honestly...
Or they don't know anything about the culture, so it's not as interesting to them.
Yeah.
There's a lot in common, like, people get scared all over. Like, there's a commonality there.
Yeah, like, horror movies or romance movies, I feel like since we can relate at one common level, everything else just kind of falls into place. And yeah, there's once in a while that you have movies that you don't completely understand the culture, but it's not impossible to Google like the situation and it will kind of explain the culture. Or, you know, watching someone review the film, and oftentimes they'll do research on that culture or what have you. But, you know, for those of you that are not watching a movie because you have to read the subtitles, you're missing out in some cases.
There's some really good ones out there. For sure. And some of these movies that we're going to be reviewing are some of the biggest reasons why we love this genre. Mm-hmm. The horror genre in general. Yeah. It's not just the originals from America that we love. These are some of the ones that kept us up at night.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, and what make us come back for more.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So
we are all inclusive.
Yes. We are looking forward to the next few movies that we're going to be reviewing for this genre, in particular, the Asian horror. We've got a lot coming up, so stay tuned. In the meantime, stay safe and stay spoopy, guys.
Bye.
Bye.